Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name's Allie and today I'm going to be working on all of the different projects that I currently have in progress, otherwise called whips. In my last video called Starting Up My Small Business, I walked you through making a bunch of new products in order to apply to a locally handmade store, which I recently got into. But what that means is that I need to finish up all of the different projects that I'm working on before I go into the store, which is on August 28th and it is currently August 11th. So needless to say, I'm a little bit stressed because I have a lot of different things that are half done, 80% done, 99% done, but not completely done. One of the most important things that I need to complete is my 25 beginner stitches embroidery sampler tutorial video. I'm hoping to completely finish up filming for this today so that I can move on into editing. The other thing that I want to work on, which is a little bit smaller but still important, is finishing up these new crochet bunnies wearing overalls. I currently have one blueberry bunny done. This is what he looks like, and this is not my pattern, but I will link the video that I watched to create this. So I made this one in blue, and then I'm still working on a pink one. I haven't completed her ears yet, so I want to challenge myself to try and complete the ears. So with that said, I have a lot to do today, so I'm going to start working on the sampler and then I will check back in after that is complete. I should clarify that I'm filming this tutorial video to replace the outdated one that is currently posted on my channel to make the experience feel better for my customers. I was also able to film some short form videos to post on TikTok and Instagram that I'll put on the left hand side of the screen. My hope is that these short form videos give you guys a small glimpse into learning embroidery and will also showcase all of the different stitches that you get to try out. So I posted one for the Danish knot and then another for the buttonhole wheel, and my hope is to post one last one for the bullion knot, which I think is the most difficult stitch on the sampler. Okay, so I've officially finished up the embroidery sampler, and let me just show you how it looks now. Here's what it looks like when it's fully complete. I've been putting off finishing up this sampler for about 2 weeks now, and it only took me around an hour and a half to completely finish. So I don't know why I was putting it off for so long when it took me such a quick amount of time to completely finish, but at least it's done now and I can move on into editing, which is probably going to be the hardest and longest part. I also like that it's finished because now I'll be able to display the finished product at my section in the locally handmade store. How I plan on displaying the finished sampler is with one of these, this little tiny mini easel, and so I'll show you what it looks like when it is on the easel. I still need to finish up the edges around here by stitching them to the back, and then after that I'll have a clean circle so that it sits nicely on the easel. So now that that's done, I'm going to move on to the crochet projects that I'm working on. I mentioned before that I have to finish up this strawberry crochet bunny still needs her ears. And then another project that I forgot to mention is that I want to finish up some crochet frogs that I've been working on. So here's what a finished frog looks like. Again, this is not my pattern. I will link the pattern below because I got it on Pinterest in case you want to make your own little crochet frog. But I'm trying to make 2 crochet frogs, and this one, as you can see, has some eyes, a mouth, and is blushing. And the crochet frog that I need to finish up is a different color. It has its eyes, and I also haven't stuffed it yet. And then it also needs its blush and a little tiny mouth as well. So I'm hoping to finish up the crochet bunny ears and also finish up this little frog. And then that's probably all I have planned for tonight because I'm hoping that I'll be able to read the rest of the night. So I crocheted the ears off camera, and then I filmed me hand sewing them on. I forgot to remove my hair tie on my wrist, which is such an eyesore, but I hope you guys can look past it. Hand sewing can be a little bit annoying, but I do think that I enjoy it more than most people, just because I like to work with a needle and thread anyways, and it also signifies to me that the project is almost done, and I'm usually too excited about that to really care. But I quickly finished up sewing the strawberry bunny and then set up all of my finished projects together so that I could see how they look before I stuffed the dark green frog. While I filmed this, it was actually a few days before my birthday, and my boyfriend got me a happy birthday crumble cookie set to celebrate. It was really thoughtful, but the reveal of the cookies was ruined because the cookies had all slid into each other, and really it was just a mess. But I still enjoyed them and even ended up having time to read on my Kindle to finish up the day. Okay, so it's the next day, and yesterday I finished up my crochet projects. So I did the bunny and the frog, and I figured that since I showed you how I was going to display the embroidery kit, I'll also show you how I plan on displaying the crochet items as well. So to display my crochet plushies, I got this little crate right here. And so this crate is typically meant to hold fruits and vegetables, but I decided that I was going to use it to display what I make. And as you can see, it has 2 tiers, so that means I have a lot more crocheting to do before I stock up my inventory in the store, so I'll need to work on that another day. But I think that they'll look really cute in these little crates in the store, and so I can't wait to finish up that display, but that is not what I'm working on today. Today I need to focus on finishing up the projects that I've been putting off for a while instead. The first item on the agenda today is finishing up the clay bakery magnets, and I can't wait to see how these end up turning out. So in order to finish those up, I'm going to be using this E6000, which as I'm reading it here, it is an industrial strength contact adhesive. So I'm hoping that this will be really durable and will be able to adhere the magnets onto the polymer clay. And I didn't just want to use my super glue because I wanted something that was really durable, because I don't want the polymer clay to fall off of the magnets. So I'm going to test that out today, but before I can even do that, I need to finish up the backs of the magnet. I finished the front of all the magnets, but now I need to finish up the backs. And then I also want to seal these, and I'm not entirely sure what I want to seal them with yet. So I bought this Mod Podge Ultra, which is like a spray sealant, and it's matte, and so I want to try this out. And I also want to try out just the regular UV resin that I'm used to using, but I'm hoping that this will be a little bit easier to apply, and also that the coating won't be so thick. So that's the first thing that I want to do. I'll let you know what the results are later. So in my last video, I learned that I'm not the best painter, and so from now on, I'm going to stick to sculpting and then covering my items with oil pastels rather than painting. These magnets aren't the most realistic, but I do still think that they turned out really cute. Also, I sprayed everything in this video just a few inches away because I didn't want to get the sealant everywhere, but after reading, I was supposed to be doing this from like 8 inches away instead, so don't follow what I'm doing right here. The magnets were cured in under a minute, and for the final comparison, the top one in my hand was the one with the UV finish, and the bottom one has the Mod Podge finish. Okay, so now all of the magnets have their oil pastels on the back, and then I also chose 2 pretzels to do a little experiment on. One of the pretzels was sprayed with the Mod Podge, and then another pretzel had the UV resin, which was then hardened with a black light. And I've actually forgot to mention that I've now upgraded my UV resin supplies. So in my previous video, I was just using some paint brushes and then also using a UV light that's used for drying your nails underneath. But now I've upgraded, and now I have some silicone brushes like this. And I got these because every single time I was using my regular paint brushes with the UV resin, I would have to throw them out basically afterwards, or they would get ruined. And so I got these because these will wash off the UV resin a little bit easier, and now I'll be able to use it multiple times and not have to just use a destroyed paintbrush every time I want to use resin. And then I also got this UV light, so it's a little bit better for the smaller details. Now I can be a little bit more precise of where exactly I want the light to be. But now we can finally compare which one I like better, the UV light or the resin, and I think I'm going to be going with the spray. So this is what it looks like with the spray, and I think that it's really subtle and you can still see the detail of the pretzel, but it is a little bit smoother and a little bit more durable versus with the UV resin, which is a little bit more difficult to see, but this one kind of makes it look a little bit more plasticky, and also it removes all of the texture that I purposely put on there. So I think I'm going to go with the spray, even though it takes a lot longer for it to dry. It says on the bottle that it can take anywhere from 4 to 24 hours, and so it's not entirely dry yet, but it's pretty good. I also think that'll be really good for doing a bunch at once. I'll be able to spray an entire set in one go instead of going in and painting on the resin every single time I want to make a magnet. So yeah, I think I'm going to spray the rest of them now. So while those dry, I'm going to do something that I can finish up really easily and really quickly, and that is completing the trinket dishes, because I have finished up the tops of them, but I still haven't done the bottom quite yet. So for both of these, the bottom needs to be painted, and then I also need to add on the UV resin to the bottom as well. It shouldn't take me very long, so I'm just going to quickly get this over with. I have one more thing on my formal to-do list today, and that's spraying the charms that I made. So I'm just gonna quickly spray all of those, and then I'll probably check in tomorrow after everything has completely dried so that you can see what the final results look like. It's getting a little bit late anyways, so I'm probably going to call it soon. Okay, so it's the last day and the magnets dried really nicely overnight. They look perfect. So now I can move on and use my new super glue to add on the magnet piece to the back. After the magnets are glued on, they'll need a few hours for them to dry. So in the meantime, I'm going to be designing the packaging that I'm going to be using for the magnets and the charms. And then I'll print them out so that I can see for the very first time what my magnets and charms look like in their little packages. So I've now tried to print out my design for the packaging twice now, and I've had 2 different attempts, and both of them have been failures so far. The first failure was because I ran out of ink. This is how far the paper got before it ran out of ink. And then the second time, the front and the back side of the paper weren't aligned. So the front side looks like this, and then on the back there's some words. If I were to try and cut these out right now, then the words wouldn't have matched with the front. I'm gonna try again, and I'm gonna hope that my next attempt is my last attempt. So it turns out that the third time actually was the charm. I don't currently have one of those fancy paper cutters, so I ended up having to cut everything by hand and then use some glue dots to hold each magnet on the paper. Then I put everything inside a small plastic bag to protect everything in the shop. Each of the charms also got their own bag, even though some of them were a little bit too big and the paper started to bend in the plastic. I made 2 of each type of charm, one with a gold eye and another with a silver eye, so that people could choose which one that they wanted. Okay everybody, we can finally celebrate because I have now completed all of my different works in progresses for the week. I literally do not have any physical item that is a work in progress right now. I have finished all of them. There are of course other things that I need to finish up, like editing and updating my shop, but it's really nice to know that everything in front of me is finished. I'm really used to just working on a bunch of different things all at once and never having anything really done, so it's nice to just be able to look around and see that it's all complete. Looking back, I've actually completed a lot more than what I remember doing. Off camera, I was even able to finish up a little crochet bunny that I've been working on. This is the little frog bunny that I've been working on off camera, and it has a little tiny pair of green overalls and then a small little frog hat, and now it can go be with the other bunnies that I've been working on. Here they all are together. I also finished up the magnets. Here's what they look like in their packaging. On the top, I titled it My Little Bakery, and I also put a little sign that said that it's a magnet set so people will know what they're for. And I was also able to put my little tiny logo on it, which is the first time I've ever put my logo on any physical product before, so that feels pretty cool as well. And then at the very bottom, it says it's hand sculpted, hand painted, and handmade. So I hope that whoever comes across this really appreciates the time that I put into making each individual item. And then on the back, I kept it really simple with just a description of what it is and what inspired it, and then also linked my social media accounts just in case anybody ever sees this and then wants to see the process behind making it. The packaging for the charms is very similar, it's just a little bit smaller. At the top I have the title, and then in the corner I say that it's a charm, and then on the back I wrote out "Charmed to meet you" with the word charmed in bold. So I'm really happy that they all look really similar and uniform, and that the magnets and charms look like they go together, just because I think it'll make the presentation look even better in the shop. So yeah, even though all of those are done and now I have the packaging figured out, that does not mean I'm anywhere close to being ready for the shop. I still have a lot of different charms that I want to make, but now I feel a lot better about having all the packaging ready and knowing that I can make a durable charm. I also almost forgot to mention that I finished up filming for the embroidery sampler tutorial, and that I finished up the bottoms of these 2 trinket dishes. Look at how shiny they are now. Those 2 things were already on my shop, the embroidery sampler and the trinket dishes, and the link to purchase those is in the description or also in my profile if you would like to purchase those or just to look around at my shop. And then any of the other items that I showed you in this video will already be uploaded to my shop by the time that this video is uploaded, so you can feel free to go and check those out as well. I'm hoping that I'm going to be adding some new charms very soon. So with that, I'm going to end the video here and get to work. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you got to this point of the video. It really means a lot, and I'll see you next time.